The U.S. manufacturing revival, as we call it, which is reshoring, onshoring, and nearshoring. This is going to take place in the geographic area called the Golden Triangle. And roughly described, that is from the Great Lakes in Chicago, it's down to Texas, over to Florida, and back up to the Chicago area. 90% of our properties are located in that market.
Joining me today is Jeff Witherell, co-founder and CEO of Plymouth Industrial REIT. So Jeff, how is Plymouth Industrial positioned to cope with ongoing market financing challenges, and how do broader macro issues impact your overall corporate strategy?
I think we're well positioned with our leverage profile. This year we redeemed both of our preferreds that were outstanding, and through the use of interest rate swaps, we've fixed our debt. Over 90% of our debt is fixed for the next 2 years. As far as the capital markets are concerned, this dislocation is affecting all REITs, but I do think that 2024 is going to be a great year for Plymouth.
Where do you think the greatest potential for growth for Plymouth in the year ahead is going to come from?
So not just this year or next year, but I think for the next 5 to 10 years, 20 years, the U.S. manufacturing revival, as we call it, which is reshoring, onshoring, and nearshoring. This is going to take place in the geographic area called the Golden Triangle. And roughly described, that is from the Great Lakes in Chicago, it's down to Texas, over to Florida, and back up to the Chicago area. 90% of our properties are located in that market.
So Jeff, as you meet with investors, are there particular questions or topics that come up more frequently than others, and how are you addressing them?
I think there's two particular questions. The first one has to do with our leverage, and as I mentioned earlier, we've made great progress on that. Our net debt to EBITDA is now 6.7 times, and that's lower than the 7 times we had forecast for the end of this year. Second one is going to be about the U.S. manufacturing, the Golden Triangle that again I mentioned earlier. I'll give you an interesting statistic. In 2020, investment in plant and equipment in the U.S. for manufacturing was $80 billion. In 3 short years, it's almost 2.5 times. So it's now going to be about $190 billion, and the run rate for the next 10 years should be about that. So we see great opportunity in the Golden Triangle for Plymouth.